I invite on stage our guests for today, starting from Ashton Kutcher. Jeremy Pope, Anthony Ramos, Rebecca Harl, Evan Peters, hi, hello, hi, ciao, 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 ciao. Welcome to Rome. You know the place.
Thank you.
Yeah. You've been here with this show. So I start from Evan and Rebecca. What about, entering in Ryan Murphy's vision and using this global thriller to deal with many themes as the idea of perfection and the sacrifice to get the idea of perfection, which are at the center of the debate still nowadays.
What's the question? What was the question?
How about working with Ryan Murphy on these themes in particular?
Oh yeah, it was incredible. I mean, it's an international thriller, and I think when he said we were going to be shooting in Rome and Venice, we really jumped at the opportunity, for sure.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. It was very exciting. I didn't actually read the script initially. Ryan pitched me the idea over a breakfast meeting and described it, which was truly one of the most entertaining moments of my career. Because not only was Ryan, thank you very much, not only was you keep passing it down the line. Because not only was Ryan Murphy just there describing to me this show, he was also, in my mind, describing to me the most peak and extreme Ryan Murphy storyline that I'd ever heard in my life. And then he topped it off by saying, and you'll shoot in Rome and Venice and New York, where I live. So it was kind of like, this sounds brilliant.
And how did you get into your characters, into your roles?
Well, I knew we were going to have some really long fight sequences, so I was training with our great stunts team with that, and doing some MMA back in New York, and we were going to be shooting a very long sequence in Venice, and I was going to be having to do a lot of running, so I ran a lot.
You did. You ran a lot. I didn't have to do any running.
But you did have to do a lot of contortionist.
Yeah, your transformation was incredible.
That was insane.
It was amazing.
We don't
Sorry.
want to.
Joe, you haven't seen anything.
Of course, we don't want to spoil
That
anything,
doesn't
but
happen.
how about the physical?
That's crazy. I can't believe I just said that. Sorry, Disney. Shit.
Rebecca, how about the physical part of this role as well?
Yes.
Yeah. How was? Yeah. I don't want to spoil
No
too
spoilers.
much. No
Yes.
spoilers.
No, there was a lot of physical stuff for me, but compared to Evan, it was very different. I wasn't doing the running and fighting so much.
We had to do a lot of investigatory work.
Yeah, we
A
had
lot
to
of checking out the crime
had to-
scene, figuring it out.
exactly
Why are people exploding?
crack the case. Why are people exploding?
Right.
It's just a question every FBI agent faces. Truly.
Anthony, Jeremy, you're a wonderful action couple in the show. So, how did you balance both the physical part of the role and all the other things involved in the show?
Crazy. It was, it was really physical. It was a physical role. A few fight scenes. There's a really exciting one between me and Jeremy later on. I'm just gonna give you guys the whole show today. It's the end of the press tour anyway, you know what I'm saying? Show comes out tomorrow, so. But it was amazing. It was really fun. Me and Jeremy have known each other for a long time. We went to college together, so we've been friends for forever. So this is the first thing we've been able to work on together, and it was so much fun. Like a lot of it didn't feel like work. when we were on set together. We were laughing all day, then 12, 13, 14-hour days, and just cracking jokes all day. So it was a lot of fun, and you know, so I really enjoyed just us getting to dig into these characters together, and the fact that we had a lot of scenes together was it was a treat.
Yeah, I think, you know, this is my third project working with Ryan Murphy, and what I've learned about collaborating with him is you need to kind of just come with an open mind, especially to set. You know, things tend to literally transform from the page to what happens in the space. So I think it was a physical role because you wanted to just be able to use your body the way that he needed to, whether it was in a fight scene that we were changing on the day, or whatever was being asked of you. So I know, like, me, Evan, Anthony, I know he was training as well. Ashton can speak to it, but we were doing boxing to kind of just get our bodies physically ready to do the things that would be asked of us. So, but it made for just a beautiful time. Again, me and Anthony have known each other for 15 years. So when it came to a lot of the scene work between us, it was really just us laughing and cutting up and having a good time together.
And how was filming in Italy and having these beautiful Italian cities as an action set, which is quite unusual for us?
I mean, it was unbelievable. You know, we shot in the Forum, and it was just us. I mean, there were some incredible moments that we had on the show. I think there were a few firsts as well, right? Where we got to shoot at these historical monuments or places, locations, and you know, people would tell us, oh, like, no one's ever done this before, or this is only the second time ever that someone has done something like this. So it was really special to be able to come here, and then also just like the landscape of Rome is beautiful, the colors, the architecture, the people, right? So to have you and the city as another character in the show, it just took the show to another level, you know, it really did. And then obviously, you know, Lou, our costume designer, just dressed us in the best clothes. So just, you know, and this is one of the fashion, you know, Italy being one of the fashion meccas of the world, getting to look nice and then be in a city that looks nice with people that look nice, you know. It was beautiful, no pun intended, to be honest.
No, I mean, I agree. I think, you know, the location of where you are is another character in the story. So I love that our show is talking about beauty and how we all perceive beauty while we're in one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And I think it's so important that we set up the foundation of our show in a place that is so historically enriched in texture and color and vibrancy and personality. Again, it's just some of the shots. There doesn't need to be any dialogue because the city itself speaks for itself. So that just makes for a beautiful intro to this wild world that Ryan has created.
Ashton, how did you get into your character, which is so nuanced? It is both very funny and dark. So how did you deal with this role in particular?
Hi everyone, and thank you for the question. How did I get into the role? Well, first and foremost, I got in shape. I've been sitting in front of like a computer for like 2 years, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go do this thing. I better get myself in shape. So that was like number one. And then I have a few friends who are very wealthy, and I sort of like observing common behaviors amongst them, and I noticed this like buoyancy that they have in life, where they move through problems as if they're not problems. And I remembered this one individual, very nice person, said to me, I got to a point in life where if money was a problem, it's not a problem. And I thought, wow, that is some way to like move through the world where, you know, like if you went to a prison, you just buy the prison and make it nicer. And I was like, this is it's a really wild thing. But they all had this kind of general buoyancy. And then without spoiling anything, there was one actor in particular that I just watched all of their material, anything I could find, to understand some variable behaviors that I thought this character could imbue. And then it was really a process of after I had a conversation with Ryan about who this person was and what they wanted. It was like trying to unearth justifications for this character's behaviors, and really calcify a noble pursuit in whatever it is that he's doing and whenever he's doing it. There's a reason why even people who do awful things in the world somehow find ways to justify to themselves that what they're doing is okay. And so that was the work.
And of course I have to ask you, how about working with our beloved Isabella Rossellini in those beautiful, witty, and even very mean scenes between the two of you?
One of the most intimidating things I've ever had to do. I mean, when you take someone who, she's a legend, she's a hero, she's iconic, she's all of those things, and then to stand in a scene and have to verbally undress that person, you're like, who am I to be? First of all, I'm like, who am I to even be on a stage with her? And then having to divorce myself from myself so as that I could have the courage to even stand up to her and verbally assault her was good. It was extraordinarily challenging. And then there's this there's a really cool dichotomy that exists between the characters. I plugged into a thing where I was like, wait, all this character wants is this other character's approval. And it's and as I'm in a scene with Isabella, I'm like, if Isabella gives me the slightest compliment about my performance, and so as I'm playing it, I'm just going, maybe she'll give me a compliment at the end of this, maybe she'll be good. And so I just went in looking for her approval in every single scene. And then the magic of Ryan Murphy and what he created is these two characters where this one man has created a synthetic version of beauty, and this other character is revels in the handmade version, and the way he displays it is by having her wear all these extraordinary couture dresses that are all handmade, and every bit of her is handmade beauty, and every bit of my character is this synthetic beauty, which is pretty extraordinary.
Thank you. I start with your questions, and I have the first one from home. Francesca Scorcucchi, Corriere della Sera, question to everybody. The show asks, what would you sacrifice for perfection? If the beauty drug existed in real life, do you think people would take the risk given the image society we are living in? 1, 2.
So how are you defining? I mean, perfection is again what I think perfection can be quite boring actually. So I don't know what that. I mean, it depends what it means to you. I don't know that it necessarily. I think I'd lose sight of when I was quite young in working as an actress, and I went to Hollywood, and people would regularly tell me that I had very British teeth, which was which was code for have them fixed immediately, Rebecca. And I kind of liked the way they overlapped in the front, and it was an imperfection that I was quite fond of, and so I sort of very stubbornly didn't for a really long time. Obviously things change as you get older, and actually my teeth started to break and I eventually succumbed and had Invisalign, so I but they're still not perfect, and I'm still happy with that.
It's a very I think the proposition of this show is not a fictional proposition. I think it's a proposition. This show is 5 minutes in the future. if we look at the world today and we look at what's available, there's a drug that you can inject yourself with, a GLP-1, Ozempic, Mounjaro, like Wegovy, that will make you lose weight. There are all kinds of different like creams and salves and topicals that you can put on your body that will promise you younger skin. There are, there's the going to the gym and working out and exercising, but there's also like cosmetic surgeries that you can do, whether it's Invisalign or whether it's rhinoplasty, that you can cosmetically enhance yourself with. And in fact, people are traveling all around the world. There's cosmetic tourism now, where you can travel to a different country and get the same procedure for less money or whatever. These are choices people are making today. This is, if you just take those things and combine that together with a bit of genetic engineering, the drug already exists. I think the core question of the show is, where do you live on that spectrum of what's okay? Why is it socially acceptable to change your teeth and wear braces, but it's not socially acceptable in some places to get rhinoplasty? I think what the show challenges is like, where on that myriad of risk do you exist? There could be side effects, there could be things that go wrong, and everybody has a different level of tolerance. But I really think this show could be called The Judgment as equally as it's called The Beauty.
Anyone else, or?
Yeah, I mean, just to add shortly, something brief to that, but it's, I don't know how much I would sacrifice, right? Personally, I don't know if, but I think it's like Rebecca said, right? Beauty is different, right, to everyone, to different people, and it's also, but I guess I've seen, right, like what we see all the time, right? Like people who will buy the most beautiful car or will get the most beautiful apartment or house that they can't necessarily afford, and there's just this endless chase for like tomorrow they tell us something is beautiful, I gotta have it because I need to stay current and I need to stay relevant. So I need to have that. Even if I can't afford it, I'll sacrifice something just to have that because it just keeps me alive. But essentially it's just us trying to survive. But then all of a sudden we just find ourselves just we're just catching up. That's all we're doing is surviving, and we're not like actually living,
Also constantly sort of streaming into our psyches that we're not good enough is more profitable, frankly.
100%. I think.
So I think broadly, I'm in favor of everyone doing whatever they need to do to make themselves feel more like themselves. But I think when you're chasing that from external influences that stand to make money, I think that can get really murky real quick, and it's hard to hold on to. Like, am I doing this for me, or am I doing this because I'm trying to be something else?
Right.
Non vi vedo
Abbiamo.
molto, prego.
Salve, qui di fronte, Giulia Bianconi, Il Tempo. E una domanda per Ashton Kutcher. Adesso Rebecca Harl raccontava di quando era arrivata a Hollywood e appunto gli avevano chiesto di cambiare i denti, ma volevo chiedere, lei che è sempre stato considerato un uomo affascinante, bello, quanto la bellezza, parlando qui di The Beauty, quanto la bellezza abbia condizionato la sua carriera, quanto a Hollywood abbia avuto un peso questo, grazie.
I didn't get any translation at all. So that was a wonderful question. It sounded so beautiful. Here's what I'd like to say regarding that. I don't know. Okay, oh yes, I can hear you now.
Se vuole veloce, proprio in sintesi, giusto così non la ripeto io, ma... Sì, velocemente.
La domanda era quanto, visto che è stato sempre considerato un uomo bello affascinante, quanto la bellezza abbia influito sulla sua carriera, soprattutto a Hollywood, quanto alla fine abbia contato, pesato o sia stato magari un ostacolo la bellezza. Grazie.
So I'll repeat it out loud so everyone can hear. How much has beauty burdened my life since I've always been considered a handsome man? How much? Do you want me to repeat it? Really? It's really embarrassing. How much has beauty impacted my life since I've always, in my career, since I've always been a handsome man?
She said charming too. Stop
And
playing.
charming.
And charming.
I got that
Yes.
as well.
Wait, can you repeat it one more time?
How? It's no, it's an interesting question. I have a twin brother, and my twin brother was born with cerebral palsy, and then when we were 12 years old, he had a heart transplant, and our lives sort of we came from the same family, the same place, same parents, and literally our whole lives we did the same thing. We're in the same classes, had the same friends, like everything. And at a certain point, like I left my hometown and I started modeling, and then got into acting and started having a successful career. And he came to me one day, and he said maybe the most important thing that anybody's ever said to me, which is, as I was becoming more successful, I was like doing everything I could to help him out and trying to offer him different support in different ways. And he came to me and he said, you know, every time you feel sorry for me, you make me less. This is the only life that I will ever know. And for me, it was like this awakening, one thing about the difference between compassion and empathy and feeling sorry for someone. But secondly, it was this just sort of grand realization that we're all living the only life we will ever know. I've only ever lived in this body. I've only ever had one mind. And it's all I ever know. And when I was a kid, I didn't feel like I was an attractive person, because nobody had told me that I was yet. And I just felt like a really poor kid that didn't quite fit in. And then, so one day, when I was 19 years old, somebody came up to me and said, hey, you should be a model, and I laughed at them, because I thought that they were joking with me. And because I didn't look like Fabio, and that's what I thought a male model looked like. And then I started working as a model and doing these things and going, well, I guess you gain a little confidence about the way you look over time. So I think like some days we feel beautiful and some days we don't. And some days, no matter how you look, you can feel really ugly. But I think that the way we look impacts the way the world sees us and what the world thinks about us. And sometimes it can create preconceived notions about who someone is or how someone is or what someone's capable of. And I think we all live in that. Because we're all living the only life we've ever known. And so maybe we don't even know how it has impacted us. And so the real answer to the question is, I don't know.
Claudia Catalli, della Stampa, to Ashton Kutcher and Rebecca Harl, you can hear in your... Maybe. L'ossessione per la bellezza contemporanea è, come avete detto, molto pericolosa. Passando dallo schermo alla realtà, credete che possa diventare letale, magari per le nuove generazioni?
So, for the English speakers, the question is beauty can be very dangerous, and do we think that beauty can become deadly or lethal for the next generations? Do you want to say? I just talked a whole bunch. Do you want to
I
take?
knew you were going to say that.
I mean, I'm glad. I'm happy to do it. But
Does no one else want to take a shot at this? Why do we get this one? Because we said something.
I don't.
I think I don't know. That's a tricky one. I hope not. Is my answer.
I think it already.
yeah.
I think it already is.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
I mean, there are kids that are committing suicide because, like today, like it's happening, that they don't feel like they're living up to some standard, and then they have start to pummel down some self.
I mean, we didn't
esteem issues.
We didn't ever have to worry about like even like I mean, I didn't you know cell phones whatever. When did cell phones come out? I don't even. Let's just social media for instance. I didn't have to worry about that when I was a kid. I didn't have to look and scroll and see how there was no trend about what was, at least not on my phone, like not available to me at every moment of the day, whenever I wanted. This dopamine hit of like, this is cool. No, but that's cooler. No, but that's actually cooler. No, but if you look like that, you should do that. No, but if you live here, you should be that way. Or if you look, and it's just this overload. And it's like, imagine growing up especially as a kid and having to deal with that subconsciously because it's normal. It's not normal for you to say that this actually is overwhelming for me because it's just how they live now. I can't imagine having to live that way. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm super passionate about this right now, but it's like I feel for kids now that they have to, this is just normal for them. It's normal. And then you got Instagram, and then you got Snapchat, and then there's so many outlets that they just bop around to the next one, and it's kind of tough for a kid to figure out who they are on their own without every second the world telling them who they're supposed to be.
And there's a difference between adults and kids that is coming into the industry when I was 20 years old, and you take a lot of cannon fodder. People just, critics, whoever, whatever, trolls, they just say things just to get a reaction. They might not even mean it, but they say things because people click on it. And as you grow up and you get older, you can build a little bit of armor to take a lot of that in. But when you're a kid and now you're a celebrity because you've had a camera in your face your entire life, and now you're pointing it at yourself, and now people are commenting on it and have whatever it might be, they don't have a developed prefrontal cortex. And your prefrontal cortex is a part of your brain that goes, just calm down, it's okay, you don't have to react right now, like you can handle this, maybe talk to somebody about it. Kids don't have that yet fully developed, and you don't fully develop that until you get much older. There's a wonderful book by Jonathan Haidt called The Anxious Generation that he talks about some of this stuff, and that's dangerous, like legitimately a dangerous thing.
Non vedo bene, ma so che c'è una domanda leonianza, giusto?
Buongiorno, eccomi. Francesca Pierleonianza, volevo chiedere a tutti voi appunto l'ideale di bellezza che viene promosso molto sui social network, adesso al di là dei trattamenti di chi poi sente di dover adeguarsi a quei trattamenti di bellezza, però diciamo che c'è una nuova frontiera, soprattutto per quei modelli, che viene presentata dall'intelligenza artificiale, cioè quel tipo di modello di perfezione che ora addirittura ispira alcune società a creare modelli di attori in intelligenza artificiale, e quelli sono perfetti così. Quindi questo vi spaventa un po'? È qualcosa che secondo voi non prenderà mai piede? Perché comunque le persone che magari vivono molto su un computer sanno distinguere, continueranno a saper distinguere se poi il modello, quello che gli viene detto sempre è dovete essere così, vicino a questo modello di perfezione. Grazie.
I saw Jeremy.
Well, because I think it's an active question. It's like we're sitting in the center of the question right now. You know, I don't know if I have the answer, because I think as an artist, I want to believe that there's space for nuance, that we as an audience, as a community of humans, will still crave nuance, will still crave experiences, going places, not just staying home and seeing it online. Like, I want to believe that experiencing something in real time is more thrilling than watching something. So I don't know, when we're seeing AI, you know, or different technology kind of take precedence and show us, flex its capabilities of morphing Ashton's face on my face and making it look like he said what I said, and, you know, that being funny to then it becoming serious and it leaning into politics and us having to question what is real and what isn't real. So that margin of truth and false becomes thinner and thinner and thinner. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting wild time that we are in currently. And I think I'm curious to see kind of where this leads. I mean, at dinner last night, we were having a conversation about my parents' generation. They didn't have the internet, you know what I mean? So I think while it might feel crazy to me today, the younger generation might be very well prepared for the army of intelligence on the other side of this. I don't know. But I do want to believe in my heart of hearts that there is still a space for nuance as artists, that we will still crave the ability to meet and greet and talk to and engage with humans. But who's to say?
I think it's just a new medium. It's not. This is to me. There are artists that use AI to create extraordinary outputs, and those people are artists too. There's always, whenever anything new comes along, there's always so much fear that is embroiled in it. Look, Anthony and I were in London the day before yesterday, and we could have turned on the TV and watched anything on TV. We could have, went on the internet and watched, some creative artist who's an influencer who's doing something interesting on the internet. And we chose to go to the theater. And we went because we wanted to appreciate that medium. And I think that this is a new medium that's coming. Now, what will it do to beauty standards? We already have face filters on everything that's online anyway. That's been around forever. Not forever. I remember 10 years ago, I looked at a company that was basically would use AI to smooth out edges on your face. Instagram filters are pseudo-static version of AI augmentation. The film industry has been using AI for a very, very long time. Any CGI that we're looking at is like effectively a version of AI. And it's cartoony. And people need to be aware and conscious of the fact that there will be shifts in labor markets as a result of this. but it's a new medium through which people are expressing themselves. And even some of the AI that's being created is characters that are living in the wild. The interesting thing that a lot of the AI creators do is actually give them imperfections, intentionally give them imperfections so that they feel more human. So I think the jury's out, but I think it's not something that we should like enter with fear. I think it's something we should enter by being emboldened by what could be possible.
I mean, best case scenario, in a way, is that it makes us remember what being human is and connect to that again and relish in that. I mean, like, theatre is a really good example. Like, theatre is not going away. In London, it's like actually a really busy time for theatre right now. You know, and we need that connection. We need to remember what makes us particular. I saw on a, you know, sometimes you do a tea and then it gives you a little cute thing on the label of the tea bag. I got one the other day which was, "Beauty is not caused, it is," which is an Emily Dickinson quote. I need to go look at the rest of the poem, but anyway, I thought that was good.
So we have one last question from Joele Panetta, GQ Italia, for the whole cast. Si parla sempre della preparazione fisica, we always talk about physical training, but qual è stata la preparazione a livello beauty per il vostro personaggio? The beauty training for your character. Whatever
I mean, I think with this project, we got to trust our collaborators. We got to trust our beautiful team of hair and makeup and costume design. Like, that is the entryway to your character, you know? So I know from my particular experience, I had long fittings where we would talk about what is the closet of this character? What is he wearing? Why is he wearing it? What makes him feel the most confident, the most sexy, the most bold? And then that would influence the hair. And, you know, I remember I did my hair test next to Evan, and they were kind of cutting his hair shorter and shorter to find the right length that felt like it represented Cooper, and we did the same for my character, Jeremy. So I think, you know, yes, given the context of the show, aware that we were, you know, entering a show that was magnifying beauty and the standards of beauty, it was really specific to each character. And I allowed for myself that to be the through line to any choice that I was making physically on the outside, so that it would better influence and be nuanced for the character and less of me, Jeremy, how I wanted to look on the camera.
Yeah, the team was amazing. Costume design, you know, Lou and Jackie who did makeup, and you know, the whole. I mean, if you saw me before I got to work, not so beautiful. You know, you put the eye patches, get the hair done.
You've always
you know,
been
like,
beautiful, Anthony.
Thank you,
You've
Ashton.
always been beautiful.
Thanks, man. Thank you. One time my mommy said that. Yeah, you know, and it's you know, they really you know, they just did an amazing job of making us look as amazing as we could possibly look on the show. I mean, I think personally the only thing I did was just train, because Brian said you got to be naked at some point. I said, whoa. Just butt cheeks on the screen, guys. Sorry, it's Disney. Yeah, but that was it. That was the extent of it, you know? But yeah, we had a great team, amazing team.
Yeah, Rebecca, please.
No, I don't have much to add to that. It's true. I mean, I really liked something about my character is that she's, you know, she's not a beauty, she's a normal, but it's like the, whatever you want to call it, she is a beauty. Thank you very much.
Right.
But they didn't there wasn't a decision to kind of make her someone who isn't into making herself look good. You know, she had great outfits, and that was great.
So we have 1 minute for one very last question for Even Pictures. Roberta Panetta, My Red Carpet. How was filming in Italy? Come è stato girare in Italia? And have already been in Venice and Rome?
Yeah, I'd been to Rome before, and I absolutely love it here. I love all the history and all the ruins. Rebecca and I had the great fortune of shooting in front of the Trevi Fountain at 3 a.m. when there was no tourists there or anything, and just to be able to hear the roaring fountain and admire it was a once in a lifetime
I've never seen
experience.
it without 400 other tourists. It was
Right.
amazing, and you know, it's so obviously so cinematic, and for all the obvious Fellini reasons. So that for me was a very special moment.
Yeah, same.
So Elle, if you want to come back now, it's not empty like in your.
No,
in
and
your
I still
night
won't be able
scene.
to get in it
Yeah.
and jump around now.
Thank you all, thank you for this morning with us. Grazie a voi, vi ricordo The Beauty dal 22 gennaio, Disney Plus. Grazie, have a great day in Rome.